The Hunger Games went on for 75 years, and in those 75 years, we know of 24 victors. Today, I have a fun video idea. We are going to go through each of the 24 victors and rank them from the weakest to the strongest. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and sharing. It will greatly help to grow and sustain the channel. And if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button, and you can also follow me on all of my other social medias, all of which are linked down below, and all of which house similar content that I make here on this channel. Now, let's get into it. Let's start by going through the different tiers that we'll use to rank each victor. At the top, we have the tier most powerful, which will be the elite. After that, we have powerful, which are victors that are very skillful but just don't compare to the best of the best. Following that, we have average, which are those that are in the middle range of power. Then we have not powerful, which are those weaker than average. And finally, we have the weak tier, which are those that have the least amount of power. Now that we understand the criteria, let's get into it. We're going to go through each Hunger Games in order, so we'll start with the victor of the 10th Hunger Games, Lucy Gray Baird. After looking at her games, she did not do much. The biggest things that she did were poisoning people and using the snakes put in the arena, both of which she could only do simply because Snow cheated to allow her to do that. On top of that, she also hid for the majority of the games. To me, she belongs in the not powerful tier. I thought about putting her in weak, but taking into account that she was smart enough to utilize the things Snow got to her through cheating, I decided to put her one tier up. Mags Flanagan won the 11th Hunger Games when she was 16, and she did so using the skills she learned in District 4, all of which she possessed immense skill in. She earned her win, and when it came time for the 75th Hunger Games, she was 80 years old and was not fully keeping up, but doing better than you could possibly imagine. It makes you wonder what she was like when she was much younger and at the peak of her physical ability. Taking all of this into account, I am putting Mags in the powerful tier. Woof became a victor sometime between the 12th and 23rd Hunger Games. Unlike Mags, when he got to the 75th Hunger Games, despite being younger than her, he was absolutely useless. He even tried to eat poisonous bugs over and over again while training. Had he not been stopped, he probably would have died before the games even began. He then ended up dying early in the third quarter quell, dying in the bloodbath. To me, from what we've seen, I think he belongs in the weak tier. Between the 26th and 33rd Hunger Games, we have the next victor, Cedar. I'm putting her in the powerful tier. At the age of 60, she was described to be very strong. Following her games, she was also one of the most resilient victors Panem had ever seen, staying stoic, in shape, and alright in the mind. After that, Beetee Latier won the games somewhere between the 31st and 43rd games. His mind is what gives him his power. And his intelligence is a scary thing. He won his games by wiping out 6 tributes at a time when he crafted a weapon devised from electricity. Following his games, he showed that he was even more intelligent when he redesigned the underground network that transmitted all the programming to the entire nation. And let's not forget all the work he did for the rebellion. Figuring out how to blow up the arena, creating killer weapons, and going toe-to-toe with the Capitol's smartest minds when hacking them to put up the rebellion's propaganda. This man also took the Capitol down for the first time in 75 years with the bomb that he and Gale created. Was it ethical? No. But was it brilliant? Yes. I'm going to put Beetee in the powerful tier. To me, he doesn't make the top tier though, because physically he doesn't have much, which is clear when you realize he could not physically defend himself, landing him in a wheelchair from a back injury given to him by Enobaria. The winner of the 38th Hunger Games is someone that many might not know. Her name is Porter Millicent Tripp. During her games, she won but broke her neck in the final showdown, leading to her wearing a brace while on her victory tour. We don't know anything about her past that though, so I'm gonna have to put her in the average tier. Lyme, later known as Commander Lyme, won between the 40th and 53rd Hunger Games. I'm putting her in the powerful tier. Though we don't know much about her time in the arena, I see all I need to see about her power during her work in the rebellion. She's strong, decisive, and doesn't hold back from what needs to be done, even when it's a tough call. Like Beetee, is it morally ethical? No. But to me, it shows off her confidence and her power. Following Lyme, Brutus was the next victor, somewhere between the 40th and 53rd Hunger Games. Brutus is the first victor I'm going to put in the top tier most powerful. He has immense size and strength, is deadly with a spear, and very fast. He was even able to dodge one of Katniss's arrows. A man that size that is able to move that fast is terrifying. Also, the fact that he couldn't wait to go back into the arena for the third quarter quell tells you how confident he is in his own skill and power. Chaff won the 45th Hunger Games, and in the arena he lost his hand. Following his victory, he turned to alcohol, even being Haymitch's drinking partner from time to time. Overall, he did last a long time in the 75th Hunger Games, but that's not enough to make me say he belongs anywhere other than the average tier, so that's where I'm putting him. Following Chaff, Wiress won somewhere between the 48th and 53rd Hunger Games. Like Beetee, she is really smart, but her mind deteriorated following her victory. There were flashes of her intelligence, like when she figured the arena out in the third quarter quell, but she was more of a liability than an asset. I thought about putting her in the weak tier, but taking her intelligence into account, I'm putting her one higher in the not powerful tier. The second quarter quell saw Haymitch Abernathy coming out victorious. The 16-year-old Haymitch had to face twice as many tributes as everybody else on this list because they celebrated the 50th Hunger Games by having 4 tributes from each district in the arena rather than just 2. Haymitch showed his skill in hand-to-hand combat when fighting 3-on-1 and killing 2 of them. On top of that, he sliced his opponent's eye out of her socket and beat her with intelligence, having figured out that the force field around the arena bounced back. And he did that with his guts basically coming out of his stomach following a brutal injury. All of that makes me say he belongs in the powerful tier. I don't think he's up there with the best of the best though, so he doesn't make the top tier. The District 7 victor Blight won somewhere between the 54th and the 59th Hunger Games, and we don't know much about him other than the fact that he got himself killed when he walked into the force field in the 75th Hunger Games after his vision was obscured by bloody rain. So I'm going to put Blight in the average tier. Somewhere between the 55th and 59th Hunger Games, the female Morphling was crowned victor. She won by camouflaging herself and letting everybody kill each other until she was the last one left. She hid for the entire games, and following her victory, she became addicted to the drug Morphling. Looking at this, I thought about putting her in the weak tier, but considering that she jumped in front of Peeta to save his life, I'm going to put her one tier up in the not powerful tier. Next we have Cecelia, who won either the 60th or 61st Hunger Games. Following her victory, she had 3 children, but she was then thrust back into the arena for the third quarter quell where she died in the bloodbath. Like Blight, I'm going to put her in the average tier because there's not really evidence that she should go below or above that. Now we get to some of the more vicious victors. Starting off with the 62nd Hunger Games, we have Enobaria. She volunteered for her games, and she famously ripped another tribute's throat out with her teeth. Then, after she won, she genetically altered her teeth to make them sharp fangs inlaid with gold. During the 75th Hunger Games, like Brutus, Enobaria was actually able to dodge one of Katniss's arrows, which is super impressive. And she also slaughtered many people in the bloodbath. On top of that, she ended up being the last surviving career tribute in the 75th Games. Looking at all of this, she absolutely belongs in the top tier, the most powerful. The following games, Gloss came out victorious in the 63rd Hunger Games. He's pretty much a perfect specimen of what you would want from a tribute. He's strong, got a high training score, and is tough as nails, even moving on in the 75th Hunger Games after Katniss put an arrow in his calf, which is next level. As someone who has had a metal cleat go into his calf during a baseball game, I can tell you, it hurt. Gloss is joining Enobaria in the most powerful tier. 1 year later in the 64th Hunger Games, Gloss's sister Cashmere won right after him. What a beast of a family. Winning back-to-back Hunger Games in the same family is crazy. Personally though, I feel as though Cashmere is not as powerful as her brother. She had the benefit of his popularity, leading to her getting tons of sponsors that she probably wouldn't have otherwise, which was a big part of why she won. Though she doesn't make the top tier though, she definitely belongs in the powerful tier because she is a formidable victor. Finnick Odair is the youngest victor in history, winning the 65th Hunger Games at the age of 14. He killed a high majority of his enemies in the arena, using both his adeptness with knots and nets to trap them, and using his expert skills with a trident to kill them. He was also deadly with spears and knives, and on top of everything, he was incredibly smart. And he again proved how powerful he was when entering the arena for the 75th Hunger Games. He absolutely belongs in the top tier, so he's going in most powerful. 1 year later in Hunger Games number 66, the male Morphling won. Similar to his fellow district victor known as the female Morphling, he hid the entire games until everyone else killed each other. You can definitely tell who his mentor was. Unlike the female Morphling though, he did not do anything to warrant any more credit like she did when she saved Peeta. And on top of that, he died in the bloodbath of the third quarter quell while the female lived pretty far into that games. So the male Morphling is going in the bottom tier. He is weak. The 67th Hunger Games saw a victor that many might not know. His name was Augustus Braun. He had several nicknames including the Cavalier Career as well as Panem's favorite son. It's clear why he got the second nickname, as he was very patriotic for his country Panem, singing its praises while on his victory tour. The capital citizens loved him both for that and because he put on a great show in the arena. I am going to put him in the powerful tier. I decided not to put him in the top tier simply because we don't have any information on what he actually did in the arena to win. But as said, we know that he put on a really great show. We don't know who won the 68th or 69th Hunger Games, but we do know who won the 70th, and that was Cresta. While in the arena, she fell apart immediately after seeing her fellow District 4 tribute get decapitated right in front of her. She had a breakdown that she would never fully recover from, even years after leaving the arena. She hid for the entire games and only won because she was the best swimmer after the arena was flooded. Unfortunately, her trauma made her a weak competitor, and she was also a very fragile person following her victory, so I'm going to put her in the weak tier. Johanna Mason won the following year, becoming the victor of the 71st Hunger Games. She pretended to be a weak tribute, ensuring that nobody saw her as a threat. Then, when there were only a handful of tributes left, she showed her wicked ability to murder, slaughtering every last one of the remaining tributes with an axe. Her performance showed not only incredible power physically, but also showed how smart she was coming up with such a great strategy. I'm going to put her in the top tier, the most powerful. I did consider putting her one tier lower because of everything she went through in Mockingjay, but really thinking about it, though she had that breakdown during that training event, even after that and being brutally tortured, she still maintained her fierceness and edge, never giving into her PTSD the way Annie did. And looking at it now, I actually think that makes her a better candidate to be in the most powerful tier. Reaching the 74th Hunger Games, we of course have two victors. Now, this one might shock some people, but I'm putting Peeta in the average tier. And before you run to the comments and say that I'm wrong or say that that's a bad take, hear me out. Peeta would not have survived the 74th Hunger Games had it not been for Katniss. She kept him from dying of sickness, as well as risked her life to get medicine to heal his leg that also probably would have killed him. And the exact thing happened in the 75th Hunger Games. He would have died twice in that games had it not been for Finnick bringing him back to life after he hit the force field, as well as with the female Morphling sacrificing herself to stop the monkey mutt from killing him. Going into the 75th Hunger Games, he also had a prosthetic leg that slowed him down, which actually led to Mag's death. Finnick had to carry Peeta because he wasn't fast enough to run from the fog, and Mags, knowing that he couldn't carry her as well, walked to her death. Taking all of this into consideration, I think I've made a good argument on why he's not powerful enough to go anywhere above average. And finally, we have Katniss Everdeen. She is an insanely skilled hunter with pinpoint accuracy, shooting her game directly in the eye every time. Also, when it comes to being in the action, she always delivers, both in and out of the arena. And on top of that, she has what I guess you could call political power, literally being the face of the rebellion. I don't know if that kind of power counts, but even disregarding that, I think she still belongs in the top tier, the most powerful. She is there with the best of the best. And here is the final tier list. I think I've done a good job, but let me know in the comments what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I'm excited to hear your takes. Again, if you thought this was a good watch, hit that like button. And if you want, stick around and hit that subscribe button. I make a lot of videos like this about Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Percy Jackson, and so much more. That's all for today though. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.